Skull Rock Podcast is brought to you by the generosity of the following companies. The Old Mill Press, publishing beautifully crafted books that illuminate our world. To learn more, visit theoldmillpress.com. And by listeners like you.
Hi, everybody. It's animation director Bill Croyer, and you're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Aye, mateys, remember this as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock Podcast. Proceed at your own risk and mark well me words, mateys. Dead men tell no tale.
Welcome back to Skull Rock Podcast, the show about all things Disney and pop culture. Every week we take you behind the scenes of some of your favorite Disney films, theme park attractions, performances, books, music, as well as what's streaming, what's playing in theaters, and what's happening in this universe of entertainment. I'm Aljon Go, musician and lifelong Disney, Marvel, Star Wars fan, and you can email me, Aljon, A-L-J-O-N, at skullrockpodcast.com.
And I'm Dave Bossert, artist, filmmaker, author, and we are back in the saddle here at the Skull Rock Podcast. If you love Disney and pop culture, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our very own Skull Rock YouTube channel. You can also email me at dave@skullrockpodcast.com. Aljon, welcome back from your whirlwind tour.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate
of the Far East, I should say.
Yeah. Did visit China and then Japan, and then had a brief stint over there in Canada, like an overnight in the freaking tundra.
Oh boy!
But I'm back here in Nashville, so I'm happy to be back home.
Well, we're happy to have you back, and I'm sure our listeners are happy to hear us doing an actual real show, instead of pre-recorded like the last couple weeks. But you know something, we got a lot of great feedback about the Bruce Reiterman Part 1 and 2.
Yes.
That aired while you were gallivanting over in Asia.
Right.
A lot of people were commenting on Facebook about how much they enjoyed listening to the stories.
You know, that's great. When we put these shows together, even though we had a truncated show, we still have awesome interviews, Dave. So I'm happy that people dug it. Yeah.
You know, and I have to say, we've got another great interview coming up today, Aljon. We've got really, this guy is a Renaissance man, John Canemaker.
Yes.
He's an Academy Award-winning filmmaker.
Yep.
He's an author. He was a longtime professor at the NYU Film School, heading the animation program there. He's written tons of books, and he has a new book coming out, The Art of John Canemaker, An Animator's Garden, which we're going to be talking about on this week's episode.
It's awesome. And, not only is John just a wealth of so much information and great stories, but he's been a guest on our show from the very beginning. He was one of our very first guests in the first year of our show. So
yeah. We had him on in December of 2020.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
It's been that long. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But no, it's awesome. Else. Yeah, I love it. I'm glad that he's got this book that's come out. So can't wait to delve in with Mr. Canemaker on this new book. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then we've been getting lots of feedback, lots of emails from listeners, and so we could jump into that whenever you're ready.
Let's do it.
Skull Rock Podcast answers your email.
Now, Aljon, I know Eric Pigors sent us a note. It was really for you.
Yeah,
because of the interview we did with you.
Yeah, I mentioned we mentioned here 2 weeks ago before we had our last shows that I guess you talked to me about my career a little bit and was asking me about what was my very first concert. And I will say that my very first concert was Men at Work at the at the Grand Ole Opry in 1982. That was my very first concert.
Men at Work. That's an Australian band, right?
That's right. You know, they sang that song, "Who Can It Be Now?" You know.
Yeah.
So they have a few hits. And they were great. We won it. I won concert tickets from a radio station, and my parents took me. So we all went. Just my brother, my son, me, and my mom and dad. We went and had a great time. And that was it. And that was awesome. So thank you, Eric, for that question. I appreciate that. And the next question that we have, Dave. I don't know if you want to read this, but
this was a comment from our dedicated listener Paul from Parts Unknown, who lives in Tokyo.
Yes,
but from what I understand, he's mentioned that he's going to be possibly moving to the UK. So he's globetrotting. But Paul writes, I've been listening into the podcast over the last weeks, and the Tad Stones anthology, I can call it that, right? Was fantastic. So lovely to hear about creators behind these shows that had such a huge impact on so many. One thing I love about your podcast with Aljon is that it's bringing creators together to tell their stories that otherwise you'd only ever hear if you were in the coffee room at the studio. I'm about to listen to the Aljon episode tonight. Also, I saw you recommended Slow Horses again. Love that show. I always binge watch the new series over Christmas, and Gary Oldman, it feels like this role is the one he was born to play at times. What an actor. That's from Paul from Parts Unknown. And I have to say, Paul, I love Slow Horses. In fact, I was effusive about it. I recommend that show to anybody who's listening. It's worth just subscribing to Apple for a month and binge watching all the seasons of Slow Horses, because it's that good.
Nice. That's great. And I have to also say, Paul, I apologize that we didn't hook up in Tokyo. I was with a party for work, and I had no idea what we were going to do and when we were going to do it. And so we all played it by ear, and I'm sorry I didn't email you back and let you know that I was where I was or what I was going to be, where I was going to be. So maybe next time.
There you go.
That's awesome.
We got another comment too. It says, "Hey guys, just wanted to share my Spotify Wrapped. Keep up the great work, Joey from Kansas City."
Ooh.
Joey from KC.
Okay, you know? Joey
sounds like a made man from KC.
He's with the Tulsa King. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's it. But he had sent an image of something from Spotify that said he had listened to like 3,200 minutes of the Skull Rock podcast.
That certainly helps.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
It certainly helps. No, that's good.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That sounds great. Well, gang, once again, we'd love to hear from you. I'll put this out there once again. You can send us voicemail too. All you have to do is go to our show notes and click the link, and it'll open up your app in the smartphone, and you can just leave us a voicemail. We'd love to actually play your voice on the radio, or on the radio. What am I? On the podcast. We'd love to hear from you, or you can just send us those emails. We would appreciate it. In the meantime, let's rock into our next segment here with some applause and this film projector. It's our picks of the week. We're back, Dave.
I love the projector sound. Aljon, I have to say, while you were gone for a couple of weeks, I was busy in my office, and I'm going to be posting a photo. I had bookcases finally installed in my office, and I've been getting all of my books, my library, so to speak, unpacked and put onto the shelves. So I'm going to post a picture on my Facebook page. But so I didn't go to the movie theater, although there was a number of films I really wanted to see in the theater. Instead, I actually, because I'm a member of the Motion Picture Academy, I watched, I mean, it's got to be like 80 animated shorts on the Academy screaming. I always say screaming, the Academy Screening Room
Yes.
app, and I was screaming at some of these shorts
Oh,
because
boy.
they're it's a mixed bag. It runs the gamut from really good ones to pretty awful ones.
Oh, boy.
So this was voting for the Bake Off to get the 15 that they'll derive the 5 nominees for Best Animated Short from. So I watched all of those. I'm not going to talk about them, but I'm just telling you I watched them. But then also I watched the new season of A Man on the Inside with Ted Danson, which is on Netflix. And if you haven't seen that, it's really a terrific show. It's got a great cast. Ted Danson, Sally Struthers, Lilla Rich Creek. There's just a lot of really good folks in this. And this new season's season 2 has Mary Steenburgen in it. And if you know, Ted Danson's actually married to her.
Yes.
A Man on the Inside is a comedy series starring Ted Danson, a lonely widower who goes undercover in a senior living facility to solve a mystery for a private investigator, blending cozy mystery with comedy as he navigates his new life and the residents. The show features a large ensemble cast and has received mixed but generally positive reviews, with some viewers enjoying the mystery and the humor, while others finding the second season less compelling than the first. Well, I thought it was very good. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 94%. IMDb gives it 7.6 out of 10. 67% of people who watched it liked it. I highly recommend it. I thought it was really well done. So that's over on Netflix, A Man on the Inside, season 2. Also, Aljon, get this. I watched all 9 parts of the Beatles 2025 anthology.
Wow, that's a lot.
I mean, all 9 parts. So it's featuring a restored and expanded Disney Plus documentary with a new 9th episode. The anthology collection. I mean, look, if you love the Beatles, this is just a great docuseries. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Was there stuff in there? If you're a Beatles fan and you've seen all the previous documentaries, is there stuff in there that you've seen before? Of course there is. There's familiar stuff, but there's also a lot of new stuff in there. And I really enjoyed it. I really, really loved it, to the point where I was watching like 2 or 3 episodes a night. And got through it in the matter of like 3 or 4 days.
That's awesome.
So I highly recommend it. That's over on Disney Plus, the Beatles Anthology 2025. Okay. And then season 4 has dropped for Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner. Excellent series. This is a Taylor Sheridan show. Mayor of Kingstown is a crime thriller series starring Jeremy Renner as Mike McCluskey, who becomes the unofficial mayor of Kingstown, Michigan, a town dominated by the prison industry, acting as a power broker between police, criminals, and politicians to maintain order. It's really it's a gritty crime show, and it's got a great cast aside from Jeremy Renner. Hugh Dillon is terrific in it. In season 4, Edie Falco comes in as the new warden of the prison, and she's as corrupt as they come.
Oh boy.
Rotten Tomatoes only gives it 65%, but IMDb gives it 8.1 out of 10. I really like this show. I don't understand why Rotten Tomatoes would give it 65%. I think it's a terrific show. It's over on Paramount Plus. I'm watching it on Paramount Plus through the Prime app. Also on Paramount Plus is the second season of Landman with Billy Bob Thornton. And this season also has Demi Moore in it.
Wow.
Landman is a contemporary Western drama series on Paramount Plus, starring Billy Bob Thornton as a crisis manager in the West Texas oil fields, exploring the boom towns, upstairs, downstairs world of roughnecks and billionaires. Uh, really enjoy this. Billy Bob Thornton is just fantastic. And then finally, season 3, I binge watched this, of The Diplomat with Kerry Russell and Rufus Sewell, Allison Janney, Bradley Whitford. I mean, this is just an all-star ensemble cast, and it is fantastic. The Diplomat is a popular political thriller series on Netflix, created by Deborah Kahn, starring Kerry Russell as U.S. Ambassador Kate Weiler, who is unexpectedly appointed to the UK amid an international crisis, forcing her to navigate high-stakes diplomacy and a complicated marriage to her political star husband, Hal, who's played by Rufus Sewell. The show blends political drama, espionage, and sharp comedy, following Weiler as she tries to prevent a war while dealing with her new public-facing role and her husband's political maneuvering. This really one of the best shows. This is right up there to me with Slow Horses, one of the best shows on streaming. So check that out. That's what I've been watching. Aljon, tell me all the movies you watched on the plane while you were flying back and forth from Asia.
Yeah, I did do that. Well, I finally caught up with the Beach Boys documentary. This is on Disney Plus. It's a celebration of the legendary band that revolutionized pop and created harmonious sound that personified the California dream. Once again, much like the Beatles, if you love the Beach Boys, you love music, this is a really well-crafted, well-put-together music documentary that really talks about the life and times of all the Beach Boys, their ups and their downs. And it's certainly quite inspiring. If you want to check it out, please do. It's on Disney Plus. I suggest it. It's really good. I will give this next film a kind of meh. It's mid. It's Karate Kid Legends. And for those listeners that have been around, you know that I adore the Cobra Kai series. I really love the Karate Kid franchise as a whole. I will say the first 2 films are great. The other films are okay. Karate Kid, or the Cobra Kai series, is definitely a high point for me, especially the first two seasons were amazing. This film kind of brings together the Macchio side, Ralph Macchio, Daniel LaRusso side, and merges it with the continuity from Jackie Chan, which was kind of like the 2010s reboot of it, and brings it together. The 2 sides of the tree of karate, Miyagi-Do karate from Mr. Miyagi's side from Japan, actually goes back and dates back to mainland China, and that goes to Mr. Han. That's Jackie Chan's character. Their 2 families intertwined early on in the history of Miyagi-Do karate, and now it's time for Mr. Han to help out this kid who's a fish out of water. Came from China, moved to New York City, so it's a fish out of water story. Has a great cast. I really enjoyed Jackie Chan, Ben Wang, who plays the young lad that moves from China to New York City. Josh Jackson. Veteran actor, great in his role. The Sadie Stanley, who plays a young girl that kind of goes smitten for the new boy. Sadie, she's great. And Ming-Na Wen, of course, Mulan, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Book of Boba Fett, she's amazing. So I think the cast is great, but it does a little bit of a disservice because I don't think the film really quite knows how to pace itself and when the story should actually kick in. And there's a lot of elements they try to bring in terms of fan service. So I appreciate some of the nostalgia, but Ralph Macchio doesn't really come in until the second end of the second act, and it's kind of like, why did you wait for this? So it's kind of all over the place, but the thrilling end is great. So if you love the Karate Kid, you'll probably end up liking this film. Eyes of Wakanda is a series on Disney Plus about the Wakandan warriors who, throughout history, traveled to retrieve the dangerous vibranium artifacts. And so it's funny how when you watch the Marvel movies and you see, Black Panther, these kind of artifacts that have been stolen from Wakanda or lost over time, these kind of secret agents go in and try to retrieve them. And it's kind of an anthology series because it goes through time, through the biblical times through now, and how they kind of retrieve those kind of Wakandan artifacts. It's fascinating.
Is this live action or animated?
It's animated, Dave.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very good style of animation. It's highly stylized. I think it's gorgeous. It looks great. And it adds to the overall stories about Wakandan culture. And not only that, but it also has other hints of other characters from Marvel Universe, like the Iron Fist and Shang-Chi and things like that. So it's pretty cool. So I would definitely give it a 7 out of 10. Check it out. It's streaming now on Disney Plus. I saw Superman, Dave. And it's good. It's really good.
You hadn't seen it in the theaters?
I didn't see it in the theaters. I missed out on it.
I saw it in the theaters.
I missed out on it. I thought it was very good. I wasn't blown away, much like the Fantastic Four. I was like, this is a solid film. And I really like the cast, right? Superman must reconcile with his Kryptonian heritage, and he runs into the Justice Gang. Great casting. Really appreciate Nathan Fillion. He is hilarious as the Green Lantern. I also want to give a shout out to who else did I like in there? Gosh, Superman is great. David Cornsweet, I thought he was great. The cameo from Supergirl, who was kind of on a drunken bender, was great. Which, by the way, the new trailer's out. Really nice. And I also like Mr. Terrific. What a great character Mr. Terrific was. James Gunn, I think, does a really good job of kind of setting the stage for the new DC universe. So I can appreciate that. Good stuff there. I also saw some horror movies, Dave. 28 years later. It's the whole 28 days later franchise keeps on growing and building. And a group of survivors, who survived on a small island, basically had this youngster kind of coming of age. I'm going to fight some zombies. That's kind of their ritual that they go through to kind of become a man, and tries to save his mom from a sickness. I thought this was a very grounded film. It was very gritty, and I really appreciate Ralph Fiennes' character as well. Good stuff overall. And I look forward to, I guess they're building a new franchise. 28 years later, they have a sequel coming out next year. Can't wait to see it.
Awesome.
And this is my second to last. I will say Stranger Things is great. Go out there, see the end of the first part of this season. It's wonderful. And then this is my piece of resistance, the film Sinners. Dave, I've been talking about this for a while. I've been wanting to see it. It's Ryan Coogler from Black Panther, writing, directing, Michael B. Jordan, who plays the Stack twins. He does wonderful. The cast is great. It starts off as a period piece, I believe back in the 1920s. These two brothers from the South go to Chicago, rip off the Irish, rip off the mafiosos and the Italian gangs, and bring that money back down south to open up a juke joint rooted in blues, trying to establish themselves as a place for everyone to come and experience great music and hang out, a place for the people, right? And it's great until the vampires come. And then it turns from a period piece to a horror movie. And I can tell you, Dave, this is my favorite film of the year. It is so well done with great establishing shots, and the way that music transcends a culture through people throughout time. It's just magnificent. And I think, Dave, even for you, and maybe for your wife too, when you see this, I would like to get your take on it, because there are so many great things and threads that they pull, historic threads, culture, music, cinematography, special effects, everything about this, and costuming come together in a great film. 10 out of 10. I love this film.
Awesome.
That's what we've been watching. What have you been watching? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you and maybe review your picks in an upcoming episode.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
Dave, is Disney coming back? Is Disney coming back? Box office annihilation. Hollywood Reporter says Zootopia 2 clears 1 billion globally faster than any other PG-rated picture in history. Dave,
It's unbelievable. I mean,
how
it's
about
just,
that?
It's blown the doors off the box office, and it's fantastic.
It's great,
They
isn't it?
needed this. They needed it because they had a couple of years there where it was not good.
How can you not love the characters? They are so lovable, so well put together. With all the trauma going around Hollywood with AI and this possible merger between Warner Brothers and Netflix, everyone decided they're going to come out to see this film. And I can tell you from my visit to China and Japan, holy smokes, everybody was Zootopia crazy. It was all over the park. It was all over Japan with stuffed animals and advertising. I mean, the marketing machine
it did terrific in China.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, really huge numbers opening weekend.
Absolutely. Great stuff for sure. The sequel zoomed past the 1 billion mark worldwide on Friday, just after 17 days of release. It's only the second film of 2025 to achieve that, behind the Disney blockbuster Lilo and Stitch. Of course, Dave, we talked about this. Lilo and Stitch wasn't even supposed to be a theatrical release. They kind of changed it midway to become a fully theatrical release instead of just on Disney Plus. And it was the film that did the biggest amount in the shortest amount of time for PG rated films. Amazing stuff right there. So, have you seen it yet? Or I guess you haven't.
I haven't seen it. It's on my list of films to see in the theater, which I'm going to try and do hopefully this week when I'm traveling out to Los Angeles.
Yeah, okay. Well, good. We'll check that out. Of course, Wicked for Good still continues to deliver as well. So good stuff there. But, of course, not all is rosy, according to Hollywood Reporter. 20th Century, which is also part of Disney, and the political comedy drama Ella McKay didn't do so well. So, but that's okay. I mean, Zootopia really was where they put their money. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, but also I think when you look at Ella McKay's marketing and advertising, I look at that movie and I go, yeah, okay, I'll watch that when it comes on a streaming service.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not a movie I needed to rush out and see in a movie theater.
Well, clearly they believe the same thing because of the marketing, as you said. Speaking of Netflix and all that, as I alluded to, Netflix, of course, announced its acquisition of Warner Brothers in a deal valued at $82.7 billion, which will significantly reshape the entertainment landscape. But of course, as we do this, Paramount says, hold my Romulan ale. I think we still have a little bit left in us to make a go to pick up Warner Brothers, Dave. That is the huge content library, and of course the splitting up of various networks, etc., including DC Comics and DC Studios, Dave. As you said, it's an ongoing issue, but one we have not addressed over the past few weeks. So what is your take on that?
Well, look, it's inevitable that this is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think anytime there's an introduction of new technology, there is going to be a lot of fear. And you see that with all the messaging that's coming out, right, Aljon?
Oh, yeah.
From all the guilds and stuff like that. They're up in arms. I don't even want to go into the Warner Brothers, Discovery, Paramount, Netflix, who's buying what discussion, because that's going to be shifting and changing, and we'll talk about it in the new year, really.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as AI goes, and the introduction of Disney investing $1 billion in open AI and allowing their characters to be manipulated with AI. I mean, listen, they're talking about they have guardrails in. of course they have to have guardrails. They have to have guardrails for their characters. Is this an opportunity to overexpose the characters in out in the world? It's possible, you know. I mean, I get that Disney's trying to get ahead of the curve and get involved here, but it's a minefield. You know, it's the Wild West right now. You don't know what's going to happen. Of course, they're going to have guardrails on what people can do by creating their own content with Disney characters, because you know you're going to get some bad actors that are going to try and get the characters to do inappropriate things.
Oh,
right?
it's already happening.
Yeah,
It's already happening.
You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, you know, look, the bottom line is that I understand what they're doing, but they also have to be really careful about the overexposure of their characters.
Of course, I agree.
And that could happen very, very quickly, and all of a sudden people just start getting sick of it and they want to move on to the next thing.
Exactly.
You know? And one of the reasons why the Disney brand and the Disney characters have been have such longevity is because they've been managed properly.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so I think that, you know, although I know that they need to be on top of new technologies, they need to be ahead of the curve. I completely understand that. They also have to be extremely careful in how they continue to manage the characters, because they could do some real damage here. You know, that, you know, could dilute these characters down to ho hum, and they're no longer that special, you know.
Well, that's true. Well, the Netflix deal, we will continue to monitor that with Warner Brothers. That's a huge story, but it is interesting to see how, as you mentioned before we started rolling here, that Bob Iger, Disney CEO, hinted several weeks ago like something of this nature was coming, and you know, it's crazy to see what, you know, tools like Sora and ChatGPT are coming up with. I mean, Disney is paying OpenAI $1 billion. That is huge. And it is interesting to see, especially on YouTube. I tend to watch a lot of video essays about how people are responding to it, creators, writers, actors, etc., about this whole situation. So once again, more on this as it unfolds. AI has really been at the forefront of our discussion of the podcast from the outset, Dave. I feel like we're one of the very first podcasts to really address it in the space.
We've had great guests on talking about it.
Absolutely. It's interesting, and AI is part of my everyday life as well. It's kind of crazy how things like that work. You know what else is crazy, Dave? Have you seen the Supergirl trailer?
I have not seen the Supergirl trailer, but I did see a little blurb about Supergirl and James Gunn.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you, Supergirl, the trailer came out. It is spectacular. I think it's great. It's irreverent, as you would think. James Gunn. And of course, Supergirl took over TikTok for a day. And it looks very cool how they're marketing this film. You know, they're trying to bring in new audiences into the theater, and I think this take on Supergirl will be really great. It's irreverent. DC Studios movie becomes the first trailer to be served to every TikTok user in the U.S. and 12 other territories. That went totally viral. So looking forward to seeing it. 25-year-old star Millie Alcock stars as Kara Zor-El, the rough around the edges cousin to Superman. And of course, the dog Crypto is in there as well. So really cool stuff like that is great. And yeah, I think it's great. So I can't wait to get your take on it when you get a chance to see it, Dave. It's pretty cool. All right.
I look, I'm a fan of James Gunn, and I'm a fan of you know, the DC universe. I just wish they would get their act together, which I think they're starting to do with James Gunn at the helm. And I hope that all of this buying and selling and mergers and all this junk doesn't upset that apple cart again.
Yeah. Exactly. Keep in mind, gang, a new release is coming out on streaming this week. Taylor Swift's End of an Era is now on Disney Plus. Just came out. Also, the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out Paramount Plus. Fallout, Dave, will be debuting a new season on Wednesday. Also, What's in the Box on Netflix, and Emily in Paris, also on Netflix, coming out on Thursday. Good stuff there, Dave. And then now it's time for a segment we hadn't had in a few weeks.
Obituary roll call.
Dave, this is a very sad story. Did you see this? Peter Greenwood of Pulp Fiction and The Mask actor found dead at the age of 60 inside his New York apartment, and it doesn't look good.
It's crazy.
It doesn't look good. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me so sad to see these things happen.
It really does. Police told the New York Post, as I read this, that no foul play was expected, but that a cause of death will be determined by the medical examiner. Survived by a 16-year-old son. He's truly one of the great actors of our generation. His heart was big as he was. I'm going to miss him. He was a great friend. And that was from, Edwards, terrific guy. This is one of his friends had said that. Of course, there was some really bad stuff that they found about him regarding his passing. So more on that, I'm sure, as the stories unfold, as more details.
Yeah, just heartbreaking.
It is. Grammy-nominated singer Jubilant Skies found stabbed to death in his home, and his son is the main suspect. Oh my goodness me.
This is another shocking story. I mean, talk about a talented individual, and to have this person just taken from us because the son stabbed them to death. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the thing. He's the main suspect. The son is the main suspect. So anyway, the Grammy nominee was 71 years old, Dave. I mean, amazing. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Speaking of his 70s, I tell you, I feel like 75 is super young still.
It is super young.
Yeah, it's super young. Mortal Kombat star Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa passes away at the age of 79. A lot of people know him from playing Shang Tsung in the Mortal Kombat films and the Mortal Kombat video game. I know him from that. If you
see his face, this is another actor
yes,
who has been in so many things.
Yes.
TV and movies. When you see his face, you go, oh my God, I know who that is.
Yes, your soul is mine.
There you go.
Tagawa was survived by his wife, Sally Phillips, who he wed in 1984. He's best known, of course, for playing Shang Tsung in the Mortal Kombat franchise. Also appeared in The Last Emperor. A lot of people remember that. Snow Falling on Cedars, and the James Bond movie License to Kill. I remember that film. It's great stuff. I mean, he really made his mark there in the late 90s, for sure. And a lot of people remember him. I know that one of my friends worked with him as he used to go to Comic-Cons and book him on a lot of Comic-Con circuits. Seemed to be the sweetest man. And so, rest in peace. And of course, our condolences go out to his family and of course his fans. Dave, we wrap things up here on Obituary Roll Call for this week. Let's get into the meat of things right now. This is a friend of the show, author, and all-around great guy, John Canemaker, and his new book, The Art of John Canemaker, right here on Skull Rock Podcast.
Let's do it.
Hey, let's chat.
Let's chat.
So let's chat now. Let's chat afterwards. And he said, let's chat again.
Skull Rock Podcast. Interview time.
Well, Aljon, we've got a repeat customer here at the Skull Rock Podcast. We've got author, instructor, head of the Animation NYU animation program, retired now, Academy Award winner, actor. I mean, I could go on and just, run out the time of the show with all the things that our guest, John Canemaker, has done throughout his entire career. John, welcome back to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dave. It's great to be here again.
Well, normally in the past, we've had you on to talk about other people's animation projects and new books that people had put out and your recommendations and stuff. But we're having you back on today because you have a new book coming out.
I
Do you want
do.
to? Yes, you do. And I want you to tell our audience what the title of that book is, and we can get into why you did it.
Okay. Well, it's called The Art of John Canemaker, a very modest title, An Animator's Garden, and it's a book that I'm thrilled has come out because I've been asked to do a book about my paintings for a long time since I've been on Facebook and Instagram, and I always get inquiries saying, well, when are you going to do a book with your paintings, or when are you going to have a gallery show? So having this book is a real dream come true for me, actually. I mean, I've been drawing and painting since I was a kid. And when I did my films, as an independent animator and producer, I would do most of the drawing, and that would include the backgrounds. But it wasn't until around 1988 that this part of my life in terms of painting and drawing really kind of came together because I bought a house in a part of Long Island called Bridgehampton. And I've always lived in New York since 1961. And it's an urban setting and it's exciting here. It's very different than the bucolic rural part of the world that I came from originally, which was upstate New York. So when we bought the house, it was like bringing me back to Elmira again, and the trees and the gardens and the flowers and all of that sort of thing. And it kind of inspired me to continue to do more paintings and drawings in that area. So I started to do that, and I just kept doing it and loving it. And it was a real feeling of peace would come over me when I was, drawing and painting. And then when the internet came along, I started to have, Facebook and my own website and such, and Instagram. And I put a lot of paintings on there, and people would inquire. They'd say, "Oh, these are nice, and I like these. These make me happy." And I said, "When are you going to do a book on these things?" Seriously, people would write that in, or they'd say, "Are you going to have a gallery show?" Well, one thing at a time. So I, I saw your wonderful books. I think your Old Mill Press is a fantastic boutique publishing company of great quality. And Nancy, your wife, is a fantastic designer. So I would see these books that came out, and I say, "Gee, I wish they'd think of me for a book." And sure enough, we were talking one time. I guess maybe it was after the last interview. And she said, "Gee, you should do a book." And I said, "Well, you do books."
Well, and really, something Nancy and I have always been fans of your paintings. And before we get into the whole book part of this, I want you to talk a little bit about the fact that you gardened at the house in Bridgehampton, and hence you were doing paintings of the garden.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
And that in and of itself turned into a short film for you.
That's right.
So,
I keep forgetting all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. My husband, Joe Kennedy, came up with an idea when we bought the house out there. He said, "Why don't we have a garden?" And in the back was just a lawn. It was overrun with weeds and stuff. But we started working on it, and bit by bit, it was put together with a little path that went through and all kinds of different flowers and vegetables. And I was painting, as things would pop up during the spring or over the summer. Fall was another beautiful time of year that inspired me to make paintings. So around, I forget what the date was in the 90s, I said, I'd like to do a film of my garden, an animated film. And so I did. I did a film with a jazz track, a piano jazz track by Fred Hirsch, and recorded the seasons with my drawings, with my paintings, and they move and they come to life. And MoMA, which has had my films in their archive for a number of years, liked the film They used it for an educational film or site that they had on MoMA for children. And then they said, well, we're doing this program on jazz in films. We'd like to show your films, because there's a lot of them that deal with jazz, and also the Hubleys. So I was honored. I said, yes, of course, I'd love to have you, show the film. So Bridgehampton was up there, and they posted in the gallery some of my paintings, and it was alongside with John and Faith Hubley's films as well.
Wow.
With their wonderful drawings. So
yeah, that's amazing.
That came out of that, and now a book, thanks to you. And
well, and now I'm going to say, when is the gallery show? Are you going to put together a gallery showing? Because you absolutely should.
Well, luck will have a big part in that. If someone sees it who's involved with the gallery or can recommend it for a show, I'm there. But let's take one thing at a time.
There we go. So you basically move. I mean, it was a summer house out in Bridgehampton, right? But you went through it throughout the year, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. Winter, was great as well.
Yeah.
It gets a little dismal from January to March, and then it comes to life again. So
yeah,
fine. Yeah.
And so you have the house, you build the garden, plant the garden.
At the garden.
Yeah. And then you decide to do a film on the garden.
Yeah.
And all throughout this time, you're doing paintings of the garden.
Yeah, it's true. And it's interesting to me. Maybe it's happened to you and to other people who are in the animation field. Luck does play a great part in why you're doing what you do. And I think going back to what it all sort of comes from our childhood. What we're exposed to when we're kids really kind of influences what's going to happen in the future. I mean, in my own case, I was always drawing and painting, as I say, but I was also interested in animation because I would see the cartoons on the Disneyland television show back in the 1950s. And on that show, Walt Disney would explain how animation was done. So I was getting a feel for that and thinking, gee, that's great. I wonder if I could do that. So I made some flip books, which everybody usually does. And then he was started to do segments on the history of animation. And I thought, that's fascinating. So it led me to read up on more of those. I was doing research then, which later I had to do for books on the history of animation. So, I mean, these things were working on me at that time. I also appeared in local productions at the local college, Elmira College. They hired me to do, small parts in the plays. And eventually, when I came to New York, I did that. I looked for work as an actor and got work in mostly TV commercials and off Broadway. And I don't know, things just fell together. I made money from those commercials. I made from residuals. You get money every time it's shown. So I was doing commercials for Armour hot dogs and Pall Mall cigarettes. You could
and there's some images of those in the book because the front of the book is really kind of a I would say an abridged biography.
Yes.
Autobiography, I should say. Right.
Foster Grant's sunglasses and I was Dick Van Dyke's stunt double in 2 of his movies that were made in New York.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went to acting school down at Herbert Berghoff's, the Uta Hagen and Berghoff studio, HB. And Liza Minnelli, 16 years old, was one of my classmates.
Wow.
So I was exposed to a lot of these different things. And then when I made the commercials and I made all this money from residuals, friends said, well, you never been to college. I couldn't afford to go to college when I lived, came to New York in 18. That's why I came here. I had nothing more to do in Elmira, So they said, why don't you go to college? Why don't you get a bachelor degree? So I took the money and the GI Bill. I had been in the Army for 2 years in between these things. And I put myself through college in 3 years. And they gave me credit for being an actor. They gave me extra credit for that. And there was a very dynamic teacher there named Sister Dimphna Leonard. She was a nun. And she said, you used to do this animation stuff. You used to, study it and do flip books and things. And, you made your own film when you were 16. I said, yeah, that's true. Why don't you do that now? And I said, well, I'm an actor. I'm going to act in more commercials and make more money. And she said, I'll give you 6 credits. If you go to the Disney studio, they've just opened up an archive there. And, I'll write to the head of the archive, Dave Smith, and and see, if you can go out there, and if you do a paper on what you learn out there at the studio, I'll give you 6 credits. I said, okay. So the summer of 1973, they had opened the archive 2 years earlier in 1971, and Dave was there, and he was very nice. He was, he was very open. I wrote a letter. The nun wrote a letter. He said, yes, come on out. We'd be happy to help you with your paper, John. And and so I went out that summer, and it was fantastic. I saw, first of all, I met not 8 of the 9 old men, and Frank and Ollie were still there. And I remember, I knew who they were because I'd seen them on television and the Disneyland TV show that, Walt would introduce them. So I met them. Dave took me over to Ward Kimball's house, and I rode the train.
Wow.
And, I started interviewing all these guys then in 1973. And when I came to write my book on the 9 old men 20 years later, I used some of those interviews.
Sure.
And Frank and Ollie became my mentors. Literally became my mentors. I would do a film. I kept doing films, and I would send it out to them. I would write my articles, which led to my books, and they would look at them. They would critique them with, tough love.
Yeah.
And it was just fantastic. I mean, everything happens when you're young, and it leads to what you're making your avocation, your vocation. That's my thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm curious. You met 8 of the 9 old men. Who was the one you didn't meet? Was it John Lounsbury?
Exactly.
Because he had passed away, right?
He was there, but he was still alive at that time.
Okay.
When I've done my books, I went back to the Ward Kimball. I did interview with him when he went out there, and I did I had one day with each of the 9 old men when I did my book. So Frank and Ollie, I separated Frank and Ollie. I did Frank separately, I did Ollie separately, I did Ward separately, and then Mark and Alice Davis. They were separate interviews. And then research at the Disney Archives itself, and then going to the ARL and picking out pictures. And back when the first time I went out there, again, Dave said, what do you want to see? And I said, well, I'd love to see the mushroom dance in Fantasia, the original drawings. I'd love to see something from Snow White. And he'd say, all right, so he'd take out the drawings. It was, and I'd flip them. You didn't wear gloves. You did, it was just the real drawings.
Yeah, it's a real different story today.
Fort Knox today, you can't.
I know. Even if you actually created those drawings in the archive, they don't want you touching your own drawings.
well, that's good reason. I'm glad they're preserving them. And of course, when I did about 5 books on Disney, so every time that would be my routine. I would phone ahead, say I'm coming out. I'd like to see the archives on 2 days. I would like to see the ARL 2 days, and then I'd like to go to photo 1 day. And in between those, I want to interview this person, that person, this person, that person.
Right.
Dave was there. I also said, well, I forget what I said, but anyway, he was a big help for me.
Well, it's always amazing to see how a person's path, bobs and weaves and shifts as they go along, because you were an actor. And did you ever think you were going to be writing books?
No, I didn't. It's just, taking what comes along and trying to make the best of it, and learning on the job is basically it. I mean, I learned so much through the years from editors that I've worked with. they're just terrific. And eventually I was writing for the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. And again, you get stuff that's corrected, you get it back, you talk to them, you wonder why it was this way, and you argue with them and all of that sort of stuff. It's a real learning process.
It always is. It always is. Now, when it came time to really sort of put the pedal to the metal, as it were, and do this new book, did you have any preconceived notions of what it would be?
Well, I did. It was like planning a film. So you start with writing things down. You do research on it. You think about it a lot, and I thought it should be something that had an introductory statement, a forward, an introductory thing to talk about what's coming. Then I thought maybe it should be the seasons, because the film Bridgehampton also focuses on the seasons. So we start with summer, I believe, and then we go to fall and winter, and then spring comes around. And in spring is when I start talking about making a film based on this. So after that, the last part of the book is the making of the film. So it becomes like a how-to book, learning animation by saying, first you do script, then you do thumbnail sketches. Frank and Ollie were always big on thumbnail sketches.
Yeah.
And he said, now do the layouts, then you do color models, then you do character models, then you do test animation. So it's all these phases, which are now in the animator's, garden book.
Yeah.
So it was just a pretty logical formation of what the book would be like.
Yeah.
And then when I started working with you and Nancy, I mean, you had your own ideas. I said, I'll pick out flowers and paintings of flowers and trees and, pastoral shots, the different seasons. And you tell me what you like, because that's, that's the people who got me into this, not just you, but the people online who said, we love this painting. I'd see this. They say, oh, we do more of those paintings. We'd like that, that sort of thing. So you were a big help, you and Nancy, of course, on the book itself.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've often looked at, when I've done my own books, it's really like doing an animated production.
Yes.
In some sense, it's just that the end product is a physical book you're holding, and it doesn't, move other than you're flipping the pages. But it very much is from the standpoint of a team effort.
Yes.
It really is, because you obviously have yourself as the author and creating the written material and all of the paintings, but then you bring in a team of people that are working with you to organize that and to design how it's going to be laid out into the book and everything. What do you think of how the book turned out?
Oh, I'm just amazed. I love it. It's just beautiful. I have it, in galleys right here. And
yeah.
It's so elegantly worked out by you and Nancy, and particularly the designs that Nancy came up for the size of the pictures, and it's more than I hoped it would be. It's everything I hoped it would be. So,
yeah, it really is a beautiful book, and I look at it as a true coffee table book. It's a book you want to have out in your living room for when you have guests over to pick up and look at. It's such a gorgeous book.
Exactly. Oh.
So this isn't your last book. What other books are you going to do?
Well, I'm old, so this it takes a long time to do books. It takes a long time to do films. I mean, I enjoy writing, and I put stuff up on my website, and I put essays up now. I just did an essay recently on Robert D. Field. He was the author of The Art of Walt Disney back in 1942. And I'm kind of fascinated by how he came to do this project, which was, I mean, his book was a big inspiration for me. Also, Preston Blair's book back in the 1950s, there were like 3 books.
Right.
Animation technique and history. That was one. And Nat Falk also had a book called How to Do Animated Cartoons. But Robert D. Field was the first writer, and he was a Harvard professor, an art professor, to write about the art of Walt Disney and why it is art, and how he did it, the techniques. It's full of information and fantastic illustrations that just opened my eyes to the possibilities back in the 1950s. So when I was doing my books, I would always sort of try to emulate what Robert D. Field did, and then I decided I'd like to find out more about him, who he was. And he struggled to do this book.
And was there material out there that you got your hands on about him?
There was. I found out that there was the Smithsonian Archives has a whole bunch of information on him, correspondence, contracts, pictures, all of that sort of thing. So I went to Washington and did some research there. Joe and I worked on it together. And if you go to my website, which is called John Canemaker, an animated eye, EYE.
Now, what's the address? Is it johncanemakeranimatedeye.com or?
Yeah, if you just put that in, it'll come up. Take a peek.
Okay, John Canemaker animatedeye.com. Okay, I just want to make sure our listeners get that.
Yeah, the animated eye. So I wrote that, and I also wrote a piece on Nat Falk and his book, which is also on the website. But there's a lot of interesting articles there. I can write in more detail, and I wrote in detail about Vladimir Tytla. I wrote in detail about the man who made the colors for Winsor McKay's comic strips there.
Yeah.
So I write on a lot of different things, and it's kind of instant. It gets to people fast. I hear from them. So I don't know if I'll be doing any more books per se, but who knows? There might be a collection of articles or something like that I'll do.
I was going to say, at some point, all of your essays could be put together into a book.
It's an idea.
Right.
And also, I might do, I continue to do paintings. I'm trying to extend my, my style and explore things. It's a wonderful experimental thing to do paintings, because I keep, trying things. So I might do another book this time on urban, paintings I've made of New York.
Sure.
Like that.
What is it that you hope people are going to see when they get a copy of your book, The Animator's Garden?
Yeah, I hope that they will enjoy the pictures. I hope that they will feel what I felt making them, which is a joy in the paintings. I hope they'll see the animation in the paintings. Some people have commented on that. They said your paintings seem quite alive and lively, and they use words like that, and very colorful paintings. So I hope they'll find that, but I think they'll just find beauty in the paintings and enjoy them for the for the feelings that they get out of them.
Well, I think the paintings are beautiful, and I would absolutely agree that many of your paintings have a sense of motion to them. It's even though they're still, you're capturing a sense of motion, and I as a viewer can feel that in many of those paintings, and that's really what resonates with me. And you and I have talked about this over the years when we've gotten together, because I just love your painting style.
Thank you, Dave. It's great.
Yeah. So I'm glad to hear you continuing to paint. The book is going to be the book is available right now on the oldmillpress.com for pre-order. It's going to be shipping in mid-January. And as we've both attested to, it's a beautiful book. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I do hope that people who are listening will take a moment to go pre-order it, because it is discounted at theoldmillpress.com. It is also available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So, and John, you're going to be doing a book signing.
Yes, I think so.
I think it's in mid-January at MoMA.
I think so. Yeah, we'll have to firm up the date. But,
yes, but the thing I would say is that's damn impressive that you're going to be able to be signing your book at MoMA.
Well, MoMA is like my second home. I interviewed Richard Williams there. I've interviewed Glenn Keane there. It's my home. My films. I've advised them on things. So I've been going there for many, many years and working with MoMA. So I'm happy that they're going to do this as well.
And they are very, very nice to you.
Yes, they are. In fact, Josh Siegel, who's one of the film curators, did the foreword of the book.
Yeah, which is really a beautiful foreword. It really is. I mean, I have to say, and it's so nice that you were able to get him to do that.
Yeah, and some of my my former students also have commented on the book, who are now working in the industry. And my working at NYU has been one of the big pleasures of my life, because I was there for 40 years and I've seen many of my students become, famous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In their own films. Alex Wu, for example, he was my student about 22 years ago, and he's just done In Your Dreams, which is a wonderful film, a Netflix film that's out now. And John Watts, who did, I think, 3 Spider-Man films, was my film in storyboarding. And Mo Willems, who's a Caldecott award winner, does these books, wonderful books, children's books, and saw him recently. I keep seeing my old students over and over again. They keep coming back. Osgood Perkins was another person. Brendan Bellomo, Michael Dougherty.
And something, you said something earlier when we started talking, that there was a sister who had encouraged you to go out, and she wrote a letter out to the archives at Disney and everything. I think every one of us has had that one teacher we can sort of think back to. For me in high school, it was Conrad Hanslick, who was an accomplished artist, and he was my high school art teacher back in the day when they actually had a dedicated art teacher, but he wasn't just an art teacher. He was a professional artist who had gallery shows on Long Island. And, and I look at him as somebody who really encouraged me, to pursue a career in the arts. But I think all of us who've gotten involved in animation or the arts in some way can point back to somebody like that.
In my case, back in Elmira, when I was, a preteen, there was an art store in Elmira, and it was run by a man named Abrams, Mr. Abrams, and he was a painter, and he was an exhibited abstractionist, modern painter. And he was very kind. He would look at my flip books and he would advise me. And in fact, the Robert D. Field book was given to me by someone at the art shop in Elmira.
Wow.
So I mean, it's just incredible. And there was a nun there too at the high school, Sister Jean, who's in the book. There's a picture of her.
Yeah.
But the I was specifically talking about that sent me out to Disney was Sister Dymphna Leonard, and she was at Marymount, where I went for my undergraduate. And then she said, after I did the Disney thing and she gave me the credit, she said, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go back to making commercials." And she said, "Why didn't you go to graduate school and get a graduate degree? Go to NYU. I'll write a letter." So she did, and I got into NYU and I went to the film school for about 3 years.
Well, I'm glad that she wrote the letter and wasn't cracking you over the knuckles with a ruler. You know?
I've had puns like that too. Have the knuckles to prove.
Well, John, I really want to say it's such a thrill having you on the Skull Rock podcast again. And I look forward to having you back in the future. I want to remind our listeners that your new book is called The Art of John Canemaker, An Animator's Garden. And I think that this is really such a wonderful book from the standpoint that not only are the paintings beautiful, and I could go on all day long talking about how gorgeous those paintings are, and the thrill and enjoyment that Nancy and I have had over the years seeing you posting those on social media, but it's also a blueprint for indie filmmakers.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw it that way, and I think the readers will get that as well, and I hope it inspires young people to get into the arts, whether it's still art or moving art. It's a great way to live your life and enjoy who you are and what you're doing. You know,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Make your avocation your vocation if possible, but you can, if you're creative, you can do that anywhere, anytime, and it really does bring joy to your life.
And I, for one, will say all of your books have brought a lot of joy to my life. I've loved every one of them, including your Felix book, which was way back when. But all of your books have been fantastic. And I would just encourage our listeners, if you're not familiar with some of John Canemaker's books, just go into Amazon and type in author John Canemaker, and you'll see all of these fantastic books on animation history that will pop up, and of course your newest book, which is The Art of John Canemaker, An Animator's Garden, which is available. If you want an author signed copy, you can get it from theoldmillpress.com. There's a 10% discount right now for the pre-orders, along with free shipping. My gosh, free shipping. How do you like that? So I would just encourage people, check it out at theoldmillpress.com, or go to Amazon and pre-order it. The book will be shipping out in mid-January, and I think it's a huge treat. And I would also say, if you're getting Amazon gift cards for Christmas presents or Hanukkah presents, by all means, use them after the new year to buy John's book. I know. It's so great. Anyway, listen, John, it was a pleasure having you on the Skull Rock podcast again. I'm wishing you and Joe a wonderful holiday season, and Nancy and I look forward to seeing you soon in New York.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you and Nancy as well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Director Kevin Lima, and you're listening to the Skull Rock Podcast.
Skull Rock Podcast.
To infinity and beyond.
Exploring the outer reaches of the Disney galaxy.
Whoa! Oh, wow, you flew magnificently.
How about that, Dave? And John Canemaker back on the show with his new books. Good stuff.
And you know what, Aljon? We're going to have a link to purchasing his new book with a special discount. That's going to be in the show notes. So I just want people to realize, if you're interested in getting this book, and I have to tell you, it is absolutely beautiful. I have an advanced copy of this book. It's absolutely gorgeous. That's all I can say. And you know what? When I am in Nashville in early April at the Animation Y'all Expo, I'm going to have copies of that book with us. And not only that, we're trying to get John Canemaker to come to Nashville to sign books.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
That'd
he's
be
an awesome
so great.
guy,
Yeah.
So It's always a joy talking with John, and I'm thrilled that we got a chance to talk about his new book.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to have him on the show, especially after several years of not having him on the show. It's good to have him back. Dave, I can't believe it. We're back in the saddle, at least for a little bit, for the holidays. I'm just so excited to be back with you, Dave. Awesome.
I'm back. Something I have to tell you. I am thrilled that you're back from Asia and that we're going to finish out the year with actual shows instead of the pre-recorded kind that we did over the last 2 weeks. Because I just enjoy sitting here talking with you about what we watched, the movies coming out, the crazy news, obituary roll call, all of those things. It's literally a joy to be here once a week with you. So I'm glad we're doing it. And I want to remind let our listeners know, next week is our holiday show.
Oh, it's the holiday show.
Yeah, next week is our holiday show, and I'll be broadcasting with you, Aljon, but I'll be broadcasting from Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh, Dave! Now it's your turn to travel.
There you go.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I don't know which end is up half the time. I just sit here behind the desk, and I have no windows or mirrors in this office. It is what it is. They kind of locked me in this padded cell to work. But looking forward to that, Dave. It is the holidays. I hope you're using our Amazon link and getting things squared away for yourselves and your loved ones this season. It's awesome. Be sure to check out all of this on social media. As we say, if you love us, please leave us those 5-star reviews. We certainly would appreciate it. The show archive is available for you. So check out skullrockpodcast.com. Check out all of the shows everywhere you find podcasts. Tell a friend and let them know you're listening to Skull Rock Podcast. Send us those emails as well, Dave or Aljon at skullrockpodcast.com. And be sure to follow me on Instagram, AljonGo. Absolutely do it. And check out my other podcast too, Dining at Disney Podcast. And our friends at Sorcerer Radio at srsounds.com. Dave?
Well, Aljon, as I mentioned, every week now, you can hear me on my other show, The Tunes Behind the Tunes, on SiriusXM Disney Hits Channel 133. All during December, we are featuring the song My Funny Friend and Me from Disney's 40th animated film, The Emperor's New Groove, which celebrates its 25th anniversary this year. So check that out on the Disney Hits Channel 133 on SiriusXM. Also, if you want, you can get some autographed copies of my books at theoldmillpress.com. Including my latest book, Find Your Happy Place, the 8-Step Guide to Boosting Your Creativity Through a Personal Retreat, winner of multiple book awards. You can also, by the way, pre-order some new books that are coming out from the Old Mill Press. And as always, you can go to davidbossert.com. There's a ton of free content. There's also free stuff you can send away for. If you want a signed book plate for one of my books, you can send away for that. And with that, Aljon, it is literally the last full week before Christmas. So I'm just going to say, take it easy, slow down a little bit, go out, have a fantastic week, be kind to one another. Don't rush around. Just keep your eyes open because everyone else is rushing around. But just be kind to one another, and we'll see you back here next Monday, right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.
It is now time for our Disney travel deal. Kristen?
So, if you are a Disney Plus subscriber, there is a spring ticket offer available to you as part of your Disney Plus perks. You can get a special 3-day, 3-part ticket to select theme parks at Walt Disney World Resort this spring. It's going to be starting at $109 per day plus tax. The total price will start at $325 plus tax. The one thing is, it is not valid for admission to Magic Kingdom. You can get it for Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Interesting.
So the dates for this are going to be January 12th to May 22nd. And your tickets must be used within 5 days of the selected start date.
Well, thank you for that Disney travel deal. Kristen, how can people get in touch with you so that they can save time, money, and all that aggravation and take advantage of your knowledge of the Disney parks?
They can contact me at Kristen, Kristen, at magicaljourneystravel.com.
All right.